Abraham Lincoln understood something that we seem to have forgotten. He said, labor is prior to and independent of capital. Capital is the fruit of labor and could never have existed if labor had not first existed. Think about that. Labor, the work of our hands, the sweat of our brows. That's what builds everything. Every road, every home, every innovation, every fortune starts with us, the workers. This isn't just an idea from the past. It's the truth of America. This country wasn't built by the people who sit in boardrooms shuffling papers and hoarding wealth. It was built by those who laid the railroads, tilled the fields, forged the steel, and taught the children. It was built by us. And yet, we've been told for generations that we should be grateful for whatever scraps trickle down from the top. But that's not what Lincoln believed. He knew that labor is the foundation, not capital. Without us, their profits don't exist. Without us, their companies don't run. Without us, there's nothing. And yet, somehow, we've allowed the people at the top to convince us that they're the job creators, the wealth builders, the indispensable ones. That's the great lie of our time. Here's a reality check. The assassination of United Healthcare CEO didn't interfere with their business in any way. The person who's supposedly the most important, highest paid individual at the company, gone. And it changed nothing. Not a hiccup in their profits, not a pause in their operations. A single one-day strike by their workers would have done more financial damage than the literal assassination of their CEO. That's how useless and inconsequential they are to the systems they claim to run. The truth is, the people who work the hardest, the nurses, the truck drivers, the line cooks, the teachers, are often the ones who struggle the most, while the people who sit on top, profiting off of that labor, are the ones who live in comfort. How did we let it get this way? More importantly, how do we fix it? The answer starts with solidarity, not left or right, not urban or rural, but working people standing together to demand what's fair. It starts with unions. Unions gave us the weekend, the 40-hour work week, child labor laws. Unions are how workers come together, negotiate as equals, and remind the bosses that without labor, there is no profit. It's time to rebuild the labor movement to make sure every worker, whether they're flipping burgers or coding software, has the right to organize and fight for better wages and conditions. And it doesn't stop there. Healthcare is a human right. No one should go bankrupt because they got sick. No one should have to choose between rent and medicine. Medicare for all isn't a radical idea. It's basic human decency. It's what every developed nation except ours guarantees its people. And it's not just about healthcare. It's about fair wages. It's about affordable housing. It's about making sure that the people who build this country can actually afford to live in it. But here's the thing. None of this happens if we stay divided. The people at the top want us fighting over culture wars, blaming each other for problems they created. They want us pointing fingers at immigrants or at people who vote differently while they laugh all the way to the bank. But we have more in common with each other than we ever will with them. It's time to stop letting them divide us and start standing together. Lincoln's words weren't just about economics. They were about dignity. About the idea that every person who works deserves respect, fairness, and a fair share of the wealth they create. That's not socialism. That's not radical. That's America. That's the promise of liberty and justice for all. If we fight for it together, there's nothing we can't achieve. So remember, labor isn't just part of the economy. It is the economy. CEOs come and go, but the workers remain. We don't need to ask for what's already ours. We built this country, and it's time to take it back. Together, we can.